Hey, it's Cetra. So, you know how you just have those moments of clarity sometimes, like when you're driving, clearly, or when you're just taking a shower, when you first wake up in the morning, you just have one of those moments of revelation like, oh my goodness, I am living in my dream, in my manifestation, right? So, what I've learned throughout this journey, so when you rewire your brain, when you retrain your brain, when you open new neural pathways to change your physical self, it's a process, okay? It's not like you're automatically, you start working on changing your brain and then your brain changes and then everything in your life changes. No, you work on removing all of your old knowledge and all of your old ways of thinking and all of your old pathways first. So it's like you're unplugging your TV, right? Unplugging all of the stereo, the TV, everything. And some of those wires are like really shitty, really horrible, and they just have no choice but to go in the trash, right? Then there's other wires where it's like, okay, there's like a little rust or whatever on the wire, but I can wash it off. I can put some alkaline water on it. I can fix it. Let's keep that. And then there's somewhere you just got to go to the store and buy a whole new wire. And for the most part, you're going to have to buy a whole new wires. Like, there's going to be very few that you keep, very much that you throw away, and a whole lot that you have to buy again, right? It's like moving or any other process, just in your brain. So through this brain rewiring, I realized that I'm not necessarily rewiring my brain for new ideas. I'm rewiring my brain to be the original ideas that I had before society knocked me down to be like everybody else. I know it sounds crazy, or not crazy, but I know it sounds like cliche or childish, or like, oh yeah, society is the reason that I'm not doing well in my life and whatever. But it's very true. It is very true. I know you guys know who Shira 7 is. Miss Sprinkle Sprinkle. I know y'all know a Sprinkle Sprinkle. And if you don't, she's the Sprinkle Sprinkle lady. She talks about dating and all this and all that. And she has another page where she's Ashera Star Goddess. And that page, she gets deep as hell, guys. I'm telling you, like, she is very knowledgeable about a lot. And I'm not talking about just star goddess, like magic and men. She knows the reasonings for magic and men, if that makes sense. Like, she knows why magic works. She knows what kind of magic works for what kind of situation. She knows biology, neurology. She knows all that. And it's very necessary. She's an alchemist, okay? She's not a magician. She's not a witch. She's an alchemist. So she knows the science behind the magic, okay? So she talks a lot about, and she focuses she focuses on women. Like, that's her channel, is geared towards women, because we have lost our way a long time ago. We've really lost it. We're coming back. I digress. So she talks about women, and she talks about why a lot of us aren't successful. And by successful, I don't mean rich, which of course, that is the ultimate sign of success. I don't care what nobody says. If you can wake up in the morning and not think about nothing but whatever you want to do that day, that is success, okay? And that usually comes with money, all right? Or comes after your bills are paid, which also comes with money, you know? So, yeah, she just talks about why women haven't gained the success or the happiness or the fulfillment that they are searching for. And it is simply because we have been taught that the way we are naturally is not the way to be. But when you start being that way, everything else catches up with it. So what I mean is, when I was growing up, I was always lazy. I was labeled the lazy child, the lazy daughter, lazy, stubborn and lazy and stubborn, lazy, sometimes rebellious, but always lazy, right? And what is laziness? Laziness is an unwillingness to do anything, even things that are in your best interest. That's the definition of lazy. Not being motivated enough to do anything, even in your best self-interest. I have never been lazy, because everything I have ever done is in my own self-interest. But I was raised to think that I was lazy. And the older I got, and when I, moved out and was on my own and doing things on my own and living life on my own, I realized there's no way I'm lazy, because there's no way I would have a house, a car, pay my bills, and have a dog if I was lazy. So I'm not lazy. So why did my family always assume I was lazy? I'll tell you why. Because I live in my feminine energy. I naturally am in my feminine energy. And Ashera, thank you so much. because you really you showed me that I am not lazy. I'm not different. I am a woman genuinely. And by that, I mean, we've been trained, go to school, go to work, like live your life, whatever, do this, do that. And we do it. But then there's some of us who we cannot do it. Like, it's physically impossible. I'm telling you guys, it is impossible for me to work. And I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. It is so true. The most times that I've been the most financially stable, emotionally stable, and free and happy were times where I was a showgirl, right? And the schedule of a showgirl, the work schedule of a showgirl is you show up when you want to, you do what you want to, you have fun doing what you want to, you go home and you repeat. So it was a very flexible, very free and open system that I was plugged into for a long time. And it worked so well for me because it's exactly how I work. And Ashira touches on that. She talks about that. She says how, as a woman, we operate the best in cycles. Okay, so we have, obviously, because we have periods, right? So there's a cycle where you're very, very, very creative. You're full of creative fire, creative energy. You're working, you're creating, you're maintaining, you're doing, you're producing. And then there's other times where you're like, I don't give a fuck about a creation. I don't give a fuck about nothing. I'm gonna lay down and stay laid down until I want to get the fuck back up. And I know everybody can relate, but I know for sure women can relate to that. We have moments in our lives, and not even our lives, in our months, because we're on a cycle every month. Even when you're going through menopause, that is also a cycle. It just replaces your cycle of your period. Now it's a cycle of menopause. And then after the cycle of menopause, it just becomes another cycle, but finally regulated, of your hormones. And then you're just horny at a certain point in time. We're always, as women, we will always be on a cycle. And I didn't learn this from Ashira. I learned this from esthetician school, which I'm an esthetician. I learned this there. That's why a lot of wellness and health and beauty is channeled towards women, not because we like beauty, but because we have hormones that need constant regulation and balancing. And if you're not in that space on your own, you go and you seek somebody who can get you in that space, So we work in cycles. So in order to be the most productive and the most creative and the most productive, you need to have a cycle. You're in a cycle of creativity, you're in a cycle of discipline, you're in a cycle of freedom, you're in a cycle of sexuality. You need to allow yourself to live through and live out those cycles. And that's something that we, first of all, don't have the luxury of doing. And then second of all, don't have the education on doing. And third of all, don't even have the understanding to do. And I can tell you, because I'm living it at this moment currently, I can tell you that it's something that you have to walk on faith with. You have to understand that. So I came to this realization because as I was driving, I had this epiphany. Like, I'm thinking, I've been constantly posting on my YouTube channel, constantly posting on Lemonade. This is fantastic. I'm on my way to meeting my goals of, having a lot of viewers and having good interactions with people and attracting those who need me to attract to them, right? And I realized, like, when I learned to get very specific with my manifestations and what I want out of life, I realized, okay, I want to be on social media platforms. Well, I'm already on social media platforms because I have social media. So that's already something that I'm doing, right? So I needed to change my mindset again. So instead of being on social media platforms, I was thinking, okay, well, I want to have influence. I want to be an influencer. Well, I've got followers that interact with me and listen to what I have to say and continuously come back. So boom, I have influence, right? So what I need to actually realize that I need to work on manifesting is I want to have large numbers visible of following on my social media. Now that changes everything. That changes my whole aspect, my whole angle, my whole everything. Because now, instead of oh, I want to be social media famous. I want to be a social media influencer. I don't even want to say social media famous. I want to be a social media influencer. I want to reach out to and connect to women, girls, babies, whatever has a uterus or has feminine energy that needs me in that moment is who I want to connect to. And I know for a fact that that is millions of women, not hundreds, millions. And I know for a fact that I will be influential in helping millions of women just like Ashura does. I know that. And Ashura explained it very simply. What did she do? She simply did what she wanted to and didn't do what she didn't want to. Now, obviously, there's discipline. She's educated. You go to school. You have a job when you absolutely need to have a job. You do all those things in the beginning because that is what directs you and pushes you into that energy of full freedom and flow in your cycles. So I was just in a period of bouncing from job to job. I lost my job, then I started working at Amazon, and that's really what changed everything because I realized very quickly I never want to be the robot in the machine. I never want to be the worker bee. I want to be the queen bee. I want to be the machine that the robot works for, you know? And Amazon just really showed me that. Amazon really was an eye-opener because it's like, this man has this is a factory. This is $1 billion industry. These are employees with good paying jobs and benefits. I mean, and he doesn't do anything. And I'm clocking in and clocking out 10 hours a day, 4 days a week, 10 hours a day. Then I'm going to school. Then I'm going home. Then I'm trying to have time to play with my dog. But I'm working for somebody else. And he's with his wife completely hands off because he's not even in control. He's not the CFO or whatever anymore. He's completely hands off now. And I'm here ensuring that he stays hands off. It's just not something that I want to do. And I mean, if you want to be a worker bee, no shade, no tea, nothing wrong with that. You do you. It's just personally not me, not in my anything that I would ever do. And listening to Ashura has reassured me that I'm not alone. I'm not lazy. I'm not ridiculous for thinking, knowing, and understanding that I work better when I'm not working. And it sounds so cliche, but it really does boil down to you need to do what you love. I love talking random to random. I love talking into the empty space of cyberspace because I don't know y'all. And I know y'all will listen to me talk for an hour because I listen to people talk for an hour on the internet, but I would never listen to my friend talk for an hour. I avoid my friends. To be completely honest, I avoid my family, I avoid my friends, I avoid outside interaction unless I absolutely have to. I like being by myself, but I also like talking. So the internet is perfect for me. Somebody was asking Ashura, hey, why do you, not do public speakings? Why are you only on the internet? And she said, I simply would not show up to public speakings because there's a time, there's a place, I have to report to people, I have to do this, I have to schedule out, and it's not something that's sustainable, and it's simply put, not something that I want to do, so I will not do it. And that really changed my whole outlook on everything because it's so true. When you have to force yourself to do things, it's never gonna work out. It's never going to work out because you're forcing yourself to go to that speaking event and you're forcing yourself to stay on a time constraint. She says how she would show up to work late. She could just never be on time to work, but she would always show up cute or with something in hand to offset the fact that she's always late. And that's me. I don't care what job it is. I'm not going to be on time. I used to be on time and then I realized I don't care much to be on time anymore. I'm a woman. Expect me to be late. Plain and simple. And it's just those little things that she would say that I related to so heavy that I realized I've never been around a woman living in her femininity. Every woman around me, which I'm sure every woman around you, which I'm sure you yourself, which I used to be, but I have just exited that and I would never go back. Amen. Thank you. I'm always around women that have to be the man, always have to work, always have to be on a schedule, always have to do what others tell them to do because that's the only way they know to survive. But when you start aligning yourself spiritually, you don't have to do that anymore. And it's so crazy how quickly it's worked for me. But it's not crazy because that's who I've always been. Everything Ashira always says about her work ethic and how she works and how she thinks is how I've always been. I just didn't know that it's because I'm a goddess that I've been that way. And the world does not facilitate goddess. The goddess facilitates herself. So I just made this video before I go to this puppy party to let you guys know that you're not lazy. You're not unmotivated. You're not uninterested. You just are not in a world that works the way you work. So you need to make the world work for you. I've been doing gig work. It's been such a blessing. If I don't want to work for 4 days, for a week, 2 weeks straight, I don't. If I want to stay home and record videos all day and post those, I do. And it works out so well for me because I'm on my own time doing my own thing and I'm not doing any strenuous. I am creating my own business, but I'm not doing anything strenuous like how you expect it to be. I'm simply doing Grubhub, Roadie, Instacart, whatever gives me the money that I need in that moment, because that's another thing that you need to understand, that money is not what pays the bills, babe. It's your mind that pays the bills. It's your attitude. It's your energy. It's you that gets you going through your life. And once you figure that out, everything else just comes. So my assignment for you today, young woman, is for you to stand in front of the mirror and tell yourselves 10 times that you are not lazy, you are a goddess. And you'll figure it out, because I am figuring it out. And I know you can too. Bye.